Montana's Peer Network's How-To video series. I'm Andy, and I'm the social media coordinator for MPN. Montana's Peer Network is a peer-run statewide recovery organization that has been a leader in recovery-oriented behavioral health services in Montana since 2011. Enjoy the video.
Hi everybody, welcome to the How-To series. Today we're going to walk you through on how to apply for certification. You have by now finished your 40-hour training and are taking the steps to certification. And so we would like to help guide you and support you in this process. One website that you should get familiar with, it's going to become your friend, is the Board of Behavioral Health website. If you go into a Google search and you type in the Board of Behavioral Health, Montana, their website will come up. Click on that, and then this page, this is their home page. The first place you're going to go is into license information. Under that, it'll have a drop down, and you're going to choose Certified Behavioral Health Peer Support Specialist. When you click on that, it will come up here with all of the information that you're going to need prior to filling out your application. And so there's a click here link in that, and it has a checklist of all of the licensing requirements that you are going to need for your application. And so I suggest that you click on that checklist, and you can kind of go down and make sure that you have all of this stuff in order before you attempt to fill out the application. They've kind of streamlined that for you, have a checklist of things that you're going to need. So that is at your disposal, and it's going to become very, very helpful for you. All right, and then there is also a link. You can download the supplemental information and forms. This is for if you wanted to upload all of your forms. You can download them, fill them out, and then upload them back to the application. This is a new feature that the Board of Behavioral Health has implemented, and it makes it a lot easier. If you're very technologically savvy, this is the way to go. If not, you can still turn in all of your information through the mail. But if you are, this is where you go to download that information. There's links for that there. Once you have all that stuff kind of in order, you're going through your checklist, you feel like you have everything in order that you need, you're going to go over here to apply for a license. When you click that, it will have a drop down again for Certified Behavioral Health Peer Support Specialist. If you click on that, your application will come up. This is what your application will look like. For your progress in this application, if anything comes up in your process, the phone number to call would be directly to the Board of Behavioral Health. They can help you on any questions you have in your application process. And their phone number is listed at the very top of the application. It's 444-6880. You can also email them. Their email is at the very top of your application, and then the website. First and foremost, the application fee for certification is $125. That must be submitted with the application. And so that is going to have to be in like a check or money order form if you're sending it through the mail. If you're doing it online, they do have an option to pay with your credit card online. And the first part of this application is your demographic stuff. I mean, it's standard stuff that you do in any application. It's your name, address, telephone, social, date of birth. So that stuff's pretty self-explanatory. So then we go to question number 9. This is to list your education and or training course that meets the requirements. And so if you've taken Montana's Peer Network Peer Support 101, that is what you would put in there and the date that you completed that. We at Montana's Peer Network send all of your information to the Board of Behavioral Health, and so they will just be comparing what we sent them and what you name in question number 9. If you have not taken our course, you're going to put down the name of your course that you did take and the date completed. So you're going to move to question number 10, and you're going to list all professional licenses or certifications you hold or have ever held. Official verification must be submitted with the application. So if you were certified as a peer supporter in another state, you're going to put that down. The license type, your license number, and requested state verification, yes or no. For my initial process of this, I held a license as a pharmacy tech. And so I had to put that down there. Any other professional license or certifications is going to go there. So I had to put that in there. And then I also had to send proof of my pharmacy tech license to the Board of Behavioral Health. And so if you have a professional license, you're going to have something that proves that. Question 11 is, I attest that I have been diagnosed by a mental health professional as having a behavioral health disorder and have received treatment and am in recovery. So by selecting yes, you attest to this. There's no option for no. In order to become a peer support specialist in the state of Montana, you have to have been diagnosed by a mental health professional as having a behavioral health disorder or an SUD disorder, substance abuse disorder, have received treatment and are in recovery from that. So there's no option for no. Number 12, my behavioral health disorder recovery does not include any period of incarceration or hospitalization, any inpatient admission related to my behavioral health disorder that exceeds 72 hours within the 2 years immediately preceding this application for certification. In order for your application to go through, that question has to be yes. If it is no, they will either ask for additional information on that, or it could become a denial. That's one of the requirements for becoming a peer support specialist, is that we have not had any incarcerations or hospitalizations in the past 2 years. And if you were hospitalized, it can exceed more than 72 hours. All right, and so then you're just going to declare the declaration. You're authorizing that everything you've put down here is correct. And so that's all that is you're declaring that what you say is true. And then you're going to sign there and date. The personal history questions, please read the following questions carefully. Incomplete or false answer is unprofessional conduct and may result in the denial of your application or revocation of your license. You have a continuing duty to update the information you provide in your application and supplemental responses, including while your application is pending and after you've been granted a license. So upon submittal of your application form, for every yes answer provided, you will receive a request for specific information or documents associated with the question. Your application is not complete until staff has received all the information requested. So you're going to go down to these personal questions and you're going to read through them. If they apply to you, yes. If they don't, no. From these questions, that is where, after you submit your application, the board can request additional information based on your answer. And those are all going to be personal history questions. So then we go to page 6, which is your clinical supervision agreement. It's self-explanatory here. You will have to have a clinical supervisor in line before you submit your application. You can't submit your application without having a clinical supervisor who has signed off that they are going to provide that service for you. And so you're going to have your information, your mailing address, your email. You're also going to have your supervisor's information. They will put their license title, whether they're an LCSW, and it has it listed below their license title of all of the professions that can clinically supervise you as a peer support specialist. Then their license number, and you have to sign and your clinical supervisor has to sign. So you are showing the board that you guys have an agreement that upon certification of your peer support license, that this clinical supervisor will be providing that service for you. Then we go into the fingerprint and background check process. You're going to want to read and attest to reading the non-criminal justice applicant's rights form, which is included in this application. Fingerprint cards are available from most of your local law enforcement agency and the Montana Department of Justice. Complete the information requested at the top of the fingerprint card prior to having your prints taken, including the following information. So you're going to put in your employer and address, and then it's going to the Board of Behavioral Health, and this is the address. The reason you're fingerprinted, and that is licensure and this code and the ORI number. And on your fingerprint card, there is a specific spot, and we will go into that a little bit further, of where to put that information, okay? Most local law enforcement agencies will take your fingerprints for a nominal fee. You'll have to pay that, and then you send your completed fingerprint card along with a check or money order to the Montana Department of Justice. It's going to be $30, and you mail it to Montana Criminal Records, and the address is listed here. It's 2225 11th Avenue, P.O. Box 201403, Helena, Montana 59620. So that's going to be different address that you're sending your fingerprints to with the money order for $30 then you're sending your complete application to. So just be very aware that your fingerprints go to a different address than your full application. And if the Department of Justice rejects your first fingerprint card as unreadable, the board office will notify you and you will need to resubmit fingerprints. You're not required to repay the processing fee to the Department of Justice under these circumstances. So if by chance they didn't get a good read on your fingerprints, you'll just need to redo that. You won't have to pay again. And then once they perform the background check, the information is released to the Board of Behavioral Health. Your application will not be considered complete until the criminal history record information is received from the Department of Justice. And in my experience with talking to peer supporters, that is the part that creates the most wait time, them getting that information back from your background check. So this is your rights and your consent to fingerprint. Please read through that, become aware of what your rights are, and you're going to have to sign and print your name to acknowledge that you understand what you read. Here's your Privacy Act statement. Read through that. Then here is the example of how to fill out your fingerprint cards for the Board of Behavioral Health. So you can see there, name, address, date, signature, who you're sending it to, so the Board of Behavioral Health, and then you're going to include statutory authority and reason fingerprinted here. And that is going to be for Behavioral Health Peer Support Specialist, this MT920095Z, and then also this MTCA 37-38-202. And the reason fingerprinted is going to be Behavioral Health Peer Support Specialist. So you're going to include all of that information down here. We go here, it's your name, and I believe that this is filled out by the person fingerprinting you, and then your social and all of that. So just make sure all of this is filled out by you. This is filled out by the people who are fingerprinting you. The including statutory authority and reason fingerprinted is super important. If you do not have that information on there, they will send it back. You'll have to redo it. It is right here. The very last example is for behavioral health peer support specialists. So note that, jot that down for when you go get fingerprinted. And that is the end of your application. Where you send it, if you're doing it through the mail, is different than where you send your fingerprints. And so the address to send it is at the very top of your application. You're going to send that application with your $125 fee to that. You're going to send your fingerprints with a $30 check or money order to the Department of Justice. And then you will receive communication through email from the Board of Behavioral Health on any additional information that they need, and just follow accordingly with what they ask. And that should be it. Thank you. I hope this how-to guide of how to fill out your application helps you. And like I said, if there's any additional question in your process of becoming certified and filling out this application and how to navigate that, please call the Board of Behavioral Health at 444-6880. Thanks again.
Thanks for watching this video in MPN's How-To video series. If you'd like more information about our services, please visit our website at mtpeernetwork.org. And don't forget to subscribe.